Okay, good morning everyone. Wonderful to see such a crowd. So, last time we were all skeptical when the notification is going to come. So, now that the notification has come, it has come with another surprise that it is only 2 months away or 55 days by now. But, anyways, okay, it's a good thing. Let's hope that the exam will be conducted on time, the entire process will go on. Okay, so we'll start with our Sunday Manthan class. Let's not waste too much of our time. All right, so this is the fifth part of Sunday Manthan. If we recap, for those who have missed, the videos are there online. You can watch it in our YouTube. So part 1 we discussed Karnataka budget, and part 3 also we finished Karnataka budget. So we have finished the entire 2024 Karnataka budget. And part 2 May we started with economic survey, women issue, part 4 child and education. All right. So today we will continue with our economic survey discussion. Okay. Before that, let's recap what we have discussed in the previous class, that is Karnataka budget, through some questions. Okay. Try and answer these questions. Okay. So that actively we can recap what we have discussed in the previous class. Right. Brindavan Gardens, very simple. Yes. Mirza Ismail. Right. Option D. Wonderful. Okay, next. Who is the beneficiary under Yuva Nidhi scheme announced by Karnataka government? Yes. Unemployed youths? No, unemployed graduates. It's not very specific, like you have within 2 years that this, all those things are there. But over here, the best option would be unemployed graduates. All right, good. What is the objective of Asha Deepa scheme that has been introduced by government of Karnataka in the budget? Yes. Third one, to encourage private sector to promote employment to SC, ST, right? So the option is C, to encourage private sector in order to provide employment to SC and ST community, right? So we have seen that they give incentives, right? Part payment or contribution towards their PFI, etc., is made by the government. All right, good. Next, what is the objective of Seva Sindhu? Yes? C or A? C, right? So to facilitate cashless, faceless and paperless government service, right? So all the services that are provided, okay, by government through various departments, so they all will be provided through this mode, right? Okay, so that is Seva Sindhu, right? Next one, last one. So in the Karnataka budget recently, a study center focusing on Sufi saints. Yes? Kalburgi University. See, all these are simple questions and these only will be asked in the examination. Okay, most of the questions are going to be like this. So therefore, repeatedly you read it, it is fresh. After 50 days also, I hope you should be able to remember. So the more you revise, the better you are going to get. See, the strategy for clearing prelims with the less amount of time, even if you have lots of time or you have a lot of hours, in spite of that, the strategy is very simple. Even now you have to do the same thing. See, reduce everything. You take any particular topic. Now, what we are doing here is we are taking Karnataka issues. Okay, the entire whatever we are going to cover in Sunday Manthan is going to be on Karnataka issues. That is current affairs, budget, economic survey, schemes, programs, and all of that. Right now, this can be reduced into about 1,000 topics. Just talking about the strategy to make you understand what your strategy should be. See, many of you might have given several exams, but not have been successful, I'm sure, because otherwise you would not be attending class over here. You might have given UPSC prelims, you might have given KPSC also. But what happened? Why didn't you clear? You have put in the same amount of effort, you have studied the same books, you might have even attended the same class, but what went wrong? Are you less intelligent? Intelligence is nothing to do with your ability to clear this exam. The problem is with the right strategy or the approach. So now what I'm trying to say here is, let's say Karnataka issues, there are about 1,000 topics which you can divide. Matlab 1,000 potential questions can be asked. Is that okay? Like how we put up these questions like that. If I'm able to break down the current affairs, if I'm able to break down the economic survey, budget, schemes, programs, and other things about Karnataka, I can make about 1,000 questions if I sit. Is that okay? Out of this 1,000 questions, about 400 questions are easy. Okay. About another 400 questions are medium and another 200 questions are difficult. Majority of the questions will come from this. Okay, if you take 40 questions that are going to be asked from Karnataka issues, the experience, and see, the examiner will not ask all questions from this difficult, then everybody will have a problem. They'll say it's such a difficult paper, why did you give it that, this, they might even be protest. Is that okay? So if you take this into account, logic, this is nothing other than logic over here, based on our experience, based on any exam pattern. So out of this 1000 questions, about 400, 400 and 200 will be the ratio. 200 will be very difficult, right? The numbers will be changed into just 1, 2 differences. Nobody can answer them. Is that okay? Then there are other 400 to 400 questions. Okay, this is easy, this is medium. So you can expect about 20 questions from this, about 15 questions from this, and about 5 questions from this in the exam. This is what happens. Whether you believe it or not, whether you want to take it or not, that's up to you. But this is a fact. This is how we guess also. When I do these classes, I take topics from this. The most easy ones, most probable questions. And those are asked in the exam. And you believe that I was able to guess. No, I am not able to guess. I am just able to predict that, yes, this is easy. There is a higher chance that the examiner is going to ask. See, everybody comes from different, if you take the demography of the people who are writing this exam, there are people from rural area, there are people from, different education background, right? So, if you have to provide a level playing field, if they ask a difficult question, it's going to be biased towards those who are well off, who have been able to aram se study for 2-3 years. So, to make the exam level field, any competitive examination, the majority of the questions will be asked from easy to medium. So if they want to make the exam little bit difficult, they ask from the medium level questions. If they want to make it easy, they ask from that. So what should be our approach first? What should be our approach? The common sense says first tackle the most important ones and the easy ones also. Yes or no? Most students, what do? Who don't clear the exam, not the ones who clear the exam. Those who do not clear the exam, they are having insecurity, especially if they don't clear the first exam of their life, whenever they give a competitive. After that, the ball keeps rolling. They are insecure and they feel that they did not clear because of this difficult questions that have been asked. They'll start focusing on ancient, medieval, Telugu, Tamil Nadu, they will start doing research and they'll start focusing only on this year after year after year, exam after exam after exam. Spend money, buy new books, go to special crash courses. Yes or no? Why? Because they want to even get this, they forget this. So what I am trying to do, what we are trying to do over here is focus on this. You master this, 20 questions is in your pocket. No, you don't even have to worry. It might look easy. If you see economic survey and if you read it and if you see the budget, I have skipped a lot of topics, which I feel are not that important. Okay, but I have covered all the easy and medium ones. So whatever is asked in your exam, majority will be there in the class. You should also do that. So many of you are asking questions, many of you ask doubts and callers and all of that, asking in 2 months what to do. Should I study that? Should I study this, etc. Remain calm. First identify. See, that's where previous year questions comes into picture. Because previous year question help us to understand what kind of questions are asked and difficulty level, etc. But we have the experience because we have given those exams. So we know how the questions are also asked and which area, which topics are most commonly asked. Even if you take any other subject also, polity. Can polity be divided into about 1000 topics or 1000 probable questions? Yes or no? 1000, 2000, whatever. In that also you will find difficult, easy, medium. Most of you will end up doing what? Those who don't clear will start focusing on the difficult ones first. Yes, you will start trying to remember facts which you are not able to remember, but still you are trying to remember. The likeliness or the probability, in CSAT there's probability. The reason why probability is there for that only, so that you know what are the chances the questions are going to be asked. Are you good with the topics which are easy and medium? Then go to the difficult ones. Even if you don't cover the difficult ones, it's fine. So this is with respect to one particular topic. If you divide the entire paper, yes, paper 1 and paper 2, in that also you will find this particular topic is easy, more probably they will be asked. This one is medium, they will be asked second, and then the difficult ones. So in the subject wise also you have to prioritize. Are you understanding? So in the next 50 days, if you prioritize the easy ones first, the ones which are going to be asked first, then it makes sense. Then you will be able to clear very easily. You will be surprised yourself if you are the first time you are not cleared any exam. If you are able to do this, you will be surprised how easy it is to clear the exam. Remember last time I told you there are certain tricks to clear prelims very easily. Prelims is very easy to clear. Trust me. All the multiple choice question I have cleared, any exam that I have given in my life. Okay. Because of this approach. It's very easy to clear the exam. And it is also very easy not to clear the exam also. Trust me. It's very easy not to clear the exam. Because if you do these mistakes to begin with, you won't clear. It's as simple as that. So these classes, what we are doing over here is trying to cover the most important topics and the most easy ones, low hanging fruits. You get that first. Then you try to prepare medium on your own. Difficult one, if you ask me for the 50 days, you leave it. Now, what are those difficult ones? That you decide. It depends on your ability. If you are not good in one subject, now science and technology. A lot of people who are not from the science background will be crying every day saying that I don't know science, I don't know science. What to do? Which book to read? Which one to read? Which class to attend? All of those problems. If you ask me, keep it at the end. Why are you worrying? Why are you sulking? You know, last week when I was taking class, Sunday Manthan, everybody was sulking about when the dates are. Now the question, now the people are sulking about, oh my God, it's in next 2 months. So let the people who sulk, people who worry, let them worry. You bring in that confidence that yes, do this, you will clear. See, there is higher chance you will clear. If you don't clear, in spite of that, then it's, the probability also says there's a little bit chance that you might not, it not work also. But most of the time, it is going to work. So have confidence in that. If somebody who has not cleared UPSC 2-3 times, not cleared KPSC for several attempts, or any other group B, group C, any exam not cleared, your strategy was a little bit wrong. Okay, your approach towards the exam was a little bit wrong. You panic. You try to make wrong decisions. That's why you don't clear. Otherwise, you are intelligent. You have worked hard. You have the right books. Just make sure whatever is important, you do it. So now all of you, are attending this class. You have done the first step in the right direction. Now make notes from whatever we are going to do in the class and then revise them. Is that okay? Fine. Right? So those who want some courses, everything is there. In spite of whatever I've told you, if you need tests, if you need crash course, if you need this one, it's all there. Also, we are coming up with the entire 2023 compilation. It's in printing, maybe another 2-3 days. This entire book compilation will be available in Arvind bookstall. So along with them, we are printing these books. So the entire 2023 current affairs, national, international, as well as state issues will be provided. Okay, so will be available for you to buy. So I just want you to be aware of that. So in addition to this book, maybe you might have to just read January and February and March current affairs magazine. So current affairs will be covered through this book. Okay, if you have not read from other sources, probably this will be useful. All right, so we'll start with today's class, having discussed the strategy approach. I don't want to again waste too much of your time because it's valuable. You have come here to gain that kind of information necessary to clear the exam. So in today's class, we are going to discuss chapter 7 of Economic Survey of Karnataka, that is Environment, Ecology, Natural Resource, the topic on that. All right. So if you see the recent Economic Survey of Karnataka, right, 2023-24, you have these chapters. We are doing that one by one. So now I have taken this natural resource management and environment and ecology. Today afternoon we will be covering rural development. All right. So human development and other things was covered previously with respect to women and children. Okay. So one by one we will cover. See, at the end of 50 days, most important topics shall be covered. All right. So in spite of that, if you need materials, notes, we will be providing this, but it's taking time to edit and all of that. But anyway, so we'll start with the today's class, that is environment and ecology and natural resource, that is chapter 7. Again, I've read this chapter, we have made materials from that, but I'm just taking the most important points, data, facts, schemes from that, and some value addition from different sources, websites, etc. to try and help you cover the entire Karnataka related environment issues. So this can be useful for covering environment question in the environment section also, plus Karnataka issue, current affairs, etc. also. So from this 2 hours, about 3 to 4 questions you can expect. 100%. So 3 to 4 questions from whatever we're going to discuss in the next 2 hours, you can expect from your prelims exam. All right. So what are we going to discuss today? So one is data and facts relating to forest. Some important ones, not everything. Too much also is too bad. So whatever we can try and remember, most important numbers relating to Karnataka forest. So schemes, policy, acts, anything that is relevant, at least the name of it, the date, etc. Institutions relating to environment, disaster management or climate change, etc. in Karnataka. A little bit information about that to create awareness. One more thing I want you to also, another tip of trick for prelims is, you need not know everything properly. If you are familiar with that also, it's okay to answer your questions, because multiple choice question, the options are already there. If you are having some degree of familiarity, you can rule out and you can answer. Okay, so to get familiarity with all of that, little bit about the wildlife sanctuaries, etc. Water resource, climate change, disaster, tribes of Karnataka. All this we'll try and cover as quickly as possible. All right. So be quick, write down as quickly as possible. All right. So the basic numbers with respect to Karnataka is, first one is Karnataka has about the forest cover of Karnataka is about 20%. So 20% of the area in Karnataka is covered with forest. All India average is about 21.7%. So, in Green India Mission, the target is 33%, right? So right now it is 21% all India. In Karnataka it is around 20%. All right, if you see, these are some all India level data just for your, even in paper 1, in case if you are made to know. So Madhya Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha and Maharashtra. This is in terms of the total area. In terms of percentage of the total land, okay, you have Mizoram, which has the highest forest in terms of the total area. So 84% of Mizoram is forest. Karnataka is only 20%. All right, next is Arunachal Pradesh. 79% of Arunachal Pradesh is forest. So only top 5 is there. All right, one more data. This is all from the forest report. Okay, 2021 forest report. Another important data is Karnataka actually has seen increase in forest cover. Okay, it is one of the state which has shown increase in forest cover. Okay, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Odisha, followed by that is Karnataka. Then one more important data that you have to remember is, see, all of this can be asked in the form of sentence also. Not just direct question, but also sentence based question. Which of the following statements are correct? Karnataka has shown decrease in the forest cover. Statement is wrong. Okay, Karnataka has actually shown increase in the forest cover. In the states which has shown increase in the forest cover, Karnataka is standing 4th compared to the previous data. Now, 60% of the Western Ghats lies in Karnataka. Okay, so Karnataka in terms of Western Ghats. So Western Ghats covers which all states? Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Right? Out of that, majority of it lies within Karnataka. So these are facts, data that you need to remember. When you write your answers in your mains, you start that way also. So all that is very useful. Is that okay? So 20% of Karnataka is covered with forest. Mizoram, in terms of percentage, highest forest cover. Madhya Pradesh, in terms of area, obviously Madhya Pradesh is a bigger state. So in terms of area, Madhya Pradesh. Okay. So Karnataka is actually shown increase in forest cover. Is that fair enough? Yes. So these data you need to remember. So first let some data, then schemes, programs, some institutions. So that's how we have organized. It's all haphazardly arranged in your economic survey. So I've tried to and give some meaning out of it. Okay. Right. We'll move on. Shall we? Okay. Next. So this is with respect to the, now we have seen the forest. So with respect to the status given to each forest. So you have reserved forest, you have protected forest, you have village forest, then you have private forest and the others. So now again this number is important. So majority of the forest in Karnataka belongs to your reserved forest. So 16% of the geographical area. So out of that 21% or 20%, right, out of that 21%, 16% of it is reserved forest. Okay, protected forest is about 1% and the rest. So you have village forest, private forest. So what do you need to remember? Reserved forest followed by your protected forest followed by village forest. Is that okay? So this is the number. If you have to arrange them in order of the level of protection, reserved forest, protected forest and village forest followed by private forest. Is that okay? Right? The numbers may be this one if you remember, 16%. So very easy to remember number, 20%, 21, 20%, out of which 16% is your reserved forest. All right. Understood? Right. Now, okay, so what is the meaning of these reserved forest, protected forest? All right. So there's a table over here. You can just quickly write down. So reserved forest has a highest level of protection. No human activities is allowed. It's completely prohibited. So under the Forest Act, see you have the other provision, Wildlife Protection Act, through which we come up with the network of protected areas. Yes, so wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, yes, community reserves, etc. They are established under what? These are all from your GS. So where are they? They are established under which act? Under the Wildlife Protection Act. So this is under the Forest Act. So under the Forest Act, there are provision to designate certain forest areas into either reserved forest, into protected forest, into village forest. This all from British legacy it is. The forest policy, you know, it started right from the British time when they wanted to establish railway lines. So that is when they came up with these forest laws. Okay. So after that, several laws have been amended, and today what we follow under the Forest Act. So under that, forest can be classified into reserved forest, protected forest. Okay. So you need to distinguish between this idea and that of the Wildlife Protection Act, under which we have network of protected areas, wildlife sanctuaries, national parks. So they are under which law? Under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Okay, so under that you have wildlife protection, the wildlife sanctuaries, etc. This is under this. So now reserved forest, strict protection. Okay, so forest department regulates the entry and all of that, strict prohibition. Here there is regulated activity under the protected forest. Please remember this point. Is that okay? So activities are allowed, but they are regulated. Now under the Forest Rights Act, the traditional forest dwellers are allowed to cultivate in those lands. They are also given the rights to collect MFP, minor forest produce. So all that is allowed over here. Regulated activities is permitted. Okay, harvesting of non-timber, grazing, etc. is allowed. Whereas village forests are nothing but community forests. Okay, so they are basically protected by the forest department at the same time with the local community. They are managed, protected by the local community. Here forest department, here it is forest department management. Activities, no unauthorized activities are allowed. Activities are allowed which are regulated. Here obviously it is allowed, that is community is allowed to perform certain activities for their livelihood and other things. Is that okay? Fine. So this is how we classify the forests in Karnataka and across India also. So forests, reserved forest, protected forests, as well as village forests. Now once again, if I put back the previous slide, if you see this, right, majority of the forests in Karnataka, about 16% is reserved forest. Is that fine? Right, the rest is protected forests, okay, the village forests, private forests, and other things. Is that okay? Right, shall we move on? Yes, clear? All right. Okay. So try and answer this question, then we'll move on to the next topic. So Devara Kadu, Bane, okay, Kannu Forest, Amrit Mahal Kaval, these are categorized as, yes, village forest. Okay. Anybody else? All right. So let's answer this after we read this. Okay. So there's another classification, okay, called as the unclassified forest. If you see here, right, you have another one called as unclassified forests, right? So this unclassified forest or deemed forest. Now, is it defined under our Forest Act? No, it is not. So it was basically through a Supreme Court guidelines, okay, that a particular type of forest, okay, tree growth, etc., was to be designated as deemed forest. Now, let me again give you clarity. So we have a Forest Act under which we try and classify forests into different types. All right. So there was these kind of forest which did not come under the protected forest. It did not come under the reserved forest. It did not come under the village forest. So there was this issue going on, and then somebody went to the court. So it was the Supreme Court which came up with this idea or concept of deemed forest, unclassified forest or deemed forest. It has not been clearly defined in any law. Number one. Number two, the Supreme Court in TN, Godavarman, in 1996 came up with this term called as deemed forest. So now, since forest law and the forest provisions has to be defined by the states, so Karnataka created an expert committee, and that expert committee defined this deemed forest or unclassified forest as land having the characteristic of forest irrespective of ownership, which can include thickly wooded areas of revenue department. So these forests, what we are talking about, 20% on that 16% and all of that, that is managed by whom? The forest department. So then there are other piece of land which is looks like a forest, but it's not under the forest department. Tomorrow when you enter the revenue department, you will be under that. Now if you see this Amrit Mahal Kaval, basically these are community lands which are used for grazing purpose. Now they are not under the forest department. They are not owned by any private. They don't have protection under the Forest Act. They are with the revenue department. They are called as your deemed forest or undeemed. So tomorrow you will be dealing with a lot of these issues. Deemed lands will be acquired and given to as grants. Okay, scams will happen, no? They all will be acquiring illegally these deemed lands, especially Bangalore, around malls, highways, etc. will be built in these lands. So people have gone to jail also by, converting them into other projects. So for preventing all those problems, because when it is not defined properly, loopholes, right? It will be mismanaged or it will be encroached. So therefore, to prevent that, thickly wooded area of the revenue department, not handed over to the forest department. Thickly wooded area recommended to be handed to the forest department, right? If it is owned by the forest department or controlled by forest, it's either protected area or your forest, the reserve forest, etc. Thickly wooded land distributed to the grantees but are not cultivated. Thickly wooded plantation of forest department, okay, which newly afforestation which has been done, etc. So these are all called as the deemed forest or unclassified forest. Is that fair enough? Right? Good. Devara Kadu, Bane, okay, Kannu forest, Kumki land, Amrit Mahal Kaval, Jama Bande, okay, Soppina Betta. In different parts of Karnataka, these terms are used. In Coorg and all, you have Bane. I think in other also in Malnad region, there is these areas called as Bane. So wherever you are from, you might be familiar with one or two terms. So these are all called as the deemed forest. Is that okay? So now can you answer this question? Simple now? Yes. Right? So it is deemed forest. It is deemed forest. Shall we move on? Right. The next data would be with respect to within Karnataka, district wise. Obviously, you see this table, you get scared and you move on. But here also there are some easy numbers which you need to familiarize yourself. Let's move on and try to break it down into simpler ways. Is that okay? So top 3 districts, bottom 3 districts we'll try and remember. The rest we will skip. Right? Somebody who is very talented would want to remember all of that. That's the difficult part what I'm telling. Very rarely they'll ask. They might ask also. If the KPSC becomes crazy, they might ask. But if you believe that that will be the higher chance and try and remember that's what I'm trying to say. The most important one is easy one. The top 3 district in terms of percentage is Kodagu, Uttara Kannada and Dakshina Kannada districts. Okay, write down this. Important. So in terms of forest cover, percentage wise. But in terms of absolute number, in terms of area, highest is Uttara Kannada district, which has 8,130 square feet kilometers. Kodagu is a smaller district. So 79% comes up to around 3,000 square kilometers. So in terms of its overall area, it is still less. In terms of its overall area, it is still less. But percentage wise, 79%. UK 79, DK is 63. Bottom 3, again, Vijaypura, Raichur and Koppal. In terms of its area also, Vijaypura is the lowest. Okay. Only 27 square kilometer of forested land is there. So that table has been reduced to this. Is that okay? Percentage wise and absolute term. The rest you can skip it. Open forest, that, this, etc. That will become too much for us to remember. There also, just the top and bottom we will remember. It's okay, you will find all these data in your book, but it will take about 5-6 hours, that's all. But the idea is to just reduce your time so that other time you can use for revision. Right, shall we move on? Okay, top 3 districts, bottom 3 districts. In terms of absolute number, this is what it is. You want second, third, in that also you can find out, but I have restricted to only top. Right, next. In terms of forest type, just for the classification, we have very dense forest, moderately dense forest, open forest and scrub forest. 4. Is that okay? You have very dense, you have moderately dense, you have open forest. So in case of very dense forest, in your environment class, you would have talked about the evergreen forest, right? Canopy like appearance. Yes, so sunlight does not penetrate the bottom of the surface, right? That is very dense forest. It is all a type of very dense forest. Moderately dense, you have regular arrangement of trees, but not as very dense as this. And then you have the open forest where you have, I mean, there is a definition given in this, but you can, it's common sense. You don't have to remember it with any specific terms because you won't be defining it in your exam. But you need to appreciate open forest means you have trees which are scattered. Trees which are scattered, and scrub forest is where trees are very scant. It's not a technical definition, common sense. Very dense, moderate dense, open and scrub. Now coming to the data, highest Uttar Kannada district, okay. 19 districts of Karnataka don't have this kind of forest at all. Is that okay? Especially the eastern parts of Karnataka, northeast, etc. So Bayalu-Sime region and all, they don't have this kind of forest. Then moderate forest, right? You have highest in Uttar Kannada again, right? But 0% in Vijaypura and Koppal. maybe it's of moderate difficulty. You understood? This data is of moderate importance, moderate difficulty. Fine. So very dense, moderate dense. Is that fair enough? Right. Next, open forest. Open forest, highest is there in Tumukuru. Okay. Scrub forest in Belagavi. Highest scrub forest in Belagavi. Online students, I hope you are also writing down. Next, in terms of highest growth of forest, you have Tumkuru, which has reported the highest growth in forest, followed by Chitradurga and Belagavi. In terms of forest lost, maximum Udupi. These can be asked as a direct question, or it can also be asked as a statement based question. So you should be ready for both. Is that okay? With respect to Karnataka's forest, which of the following statement is correct? Again, familiarity. Picture it in your mind. Okay, have a map in your mind and visualize it. Yes, where it is, which part of Karnataka, etc. Okay. Then, districts that has recorded zero growth, Raichur. Yes, please. You want the previous one? Yes. Done, all of you. So this is the forest type. All right. So in terms of data, you can write down this. Okay. Quickly. All right. So in terms of data, okay, with respect to the type of forest, okay, very dense forest, I think, yeah, so very dense forest 5%, medium dense 9%, your open forest 27%, scrub is 18%, non-forest is 41%. If you talk about entire Karnataka, this is what it is. Okay, write down. VDF 5%, MDF 9%, OF 27, scrub 18%, non-forested is 41%. So negative shows it's reducing, deteriorating compared to the previous. Is that okay? If you take entire Karnataka, this is how the forests or the landscape looks like. Okay, done. Comparison with other state, I don't think you need it, but if you just again break it down, southern state average is around 19, Karnataka is over, no, right, Karnataka is over here, right, in terms of southern states, which has the highest forest cover in terms of percentage, it's Kerala. Just if you are aware of it, it's, I mean, makes sense, you know, God's own country, so more number of us, right? Fine. Simple question, direct. Which district of Karnataka recorded? Yes. All right. With respect to the types of forest in geography, Karnataka geography also you will be touching upon this. Another way, this is the classification. Okay, for administrative purpose, very dense, moderate dense and other things. This is with respect to academic classification of forests. Wet evergreen, semi-evergreen, all this you are already aware of the definition. So your wet evergreen, what is evergreen? They don't shed their leaves. Okay, so there is permanent moisture content that is available, hence they do not shed their leaves. Moist deciduous, they shed their leaves during During? In Karnataka it is winter, during the winter times. Summer is monsoon, post summer time. So here moist deciduous, dry deciduous, thorny forest, plantations, broadleaf hill forests. Okay. Right. Then 8 forest type. This is mentioned in your economic survey actually. Okay. So in Karnataka, 20% of your Karnataka's forest can be classified into 8 forest type and 21 forest subtype. At least be aware of it as per which classification, Champion and Seth classification. This is mentioned in your economic survey. The 8 classification is this. This is not there in the survey, but 8 forests. Which are the 8 forests? You can write down. Okay, just if they ask a question. Again, this is moderate to difficult level topic. If you don't want to remember this, that's up to you. So moderate to difficult level topic. But the ones which we have already discussed, these are easy ones. There is higher chances that they are going to ask that. This is a moderate one. See, every subject you should do this only. Even CSAT. Yesterday Pratik sir did the same thing. If you have missed it, watch it on YouTube. Pratik sir also said the same thing. You identify the most important topics and the most easy ones. Cover that first. Then worry about the others. So a lot of people are finding CSAT difficult, let's say. Lots of them. Okay. Because we are good in, deriving the answer through a big elaborate, formula and steps and all of that. Now that doesn't work for competitive exam. We don't get trained in our schools for competitive examination, right? So there also identify the most important topics and the most easy one. Finish that first, na? And then worry about the others. So just by identifying that, out of 30 questions from CSAT, at least 20 you can manage. 10 leave it. Like that, every subject you should identify. Easy to clear. If you follow this for the next 50 days, remain calm. I will write and give you, you will clear this prelims exam. It's as easy as that. Tension madkondo, studying a lot of things, worrying, panicking, listen to unnecessary negative thoughts, whether the exam gets postponed, whether that is going to happen, that crash goes, this, that. Worrying will not go anywhere. Finish as quickly as possible. Whatever is easy, grab it up first. Then work on the difficult ones, moderate ones, and then the difficult ones. If you are finding a particular subject difficult, do that towards the end. Okay, Mystica swamp is a type of wetland which is endemic. It's a type of evergreen forest, wetland ecosystem, endemic to Karnataka and Kerala. Even in Karnataka, Uttara Kannada district, it's endemic to only this part. Recently in Maharashtra also they have found, but Kerala and Karnataka, it's endemic to that. Okay, Myristica swamps, and they are known for medicinal, plants. Okay, so there is a program later we will do. There's a program by government of Karnataka to preserve this ecosystem, because again they are under threat. One is because of natural reasons like flooding, and man-made because of encroachment, grazing and things like that, logging, illegal logging, they are under threat. All right, but it is very important for our ecosystem. It's a wetland ecosystem. A lot of biodiversity is there in that. Along with that, they are a source of culture also, because they provide valuable, medicinal herbs. Kerala and your coastal parts of Karnataka, a lot of Ayurvedic or herbal medicines are popular. They get most of their plants, many plants from this particular region. Okay, fine. The rest, I think, it is understood. The details of it you would have already studied in your GS. There's nothing very specific as such, other than that the endemic species, or rather the species, etc. maybe are, but that you should be able to manage it from your general studies. Is that okay? So that completes the numbers, facts, etc. relating to the forests. Basic things that you need to know from Karnataka point of view. In your geography, we will be talking about the natural ecosystem, natural vegetation of Karnataka. So that you can add to this. So these are the numbers. Is that okay, guys? Understood? So shall we move on to some important schemes that are there relating to environment, forest in your survey and in the website. Okay. Right, schemes, policy and programs, whatever is been mentioned, we will in the survey, we will focus on that. And the others also, in budget we have covered. Okay. So the ones which are there in survey and budget are the easy ones and the important ones. Now, if you want to study every scheme, then that's the moderate to difficult one, is what I'm trying to say, right? Fine. So quickly we will continue. Okay, Siri Chandana Vana, so started in 2012. See, they ask date, they ask the beneficiary or objective of the schemes. So even this is important. Okay, I don't like it, but it's important. Is that okay? Fine. So since 2012, so there's no facts other than that. The name also is obvious. Yes, sandalwood, Chandana sandalwood, and everything to do with sandalwood protection. Okay, development of sandalwood orchards on 10,000 acres of land. Even this number is not very important because it varies. I seen in the website it has a different number, survey has a different number, but just keep that in mind. Protect naturally grown sandalwood trees plus maintenance, protecting of these orchards, everything. Also develop new ones, okay, in community lands, government lands, etc., and protect them. As such, there's no other information that you need to really focus on. You can understand, right? Sri Chandanavana scheme. Right, we'll move on. Sri Chandanavana scheme. Then there's a policy also with respect to sandalwood in order to promote sandalwood. See, there is so much of demand for sandalwood in Karnataka or in India that we are actually importing sandalwood from Australia. Very good. We are importing it from Australia. So in order to be self-sufficient with sandalwood, okay, and Karnataka is one of the, what do you say, very rich in sandalwood. It is ideal condition for growing of sandalwood. So it can be a very good revenue, especially for a rural community. So therefore, in order to promote that, so now there's a lot of restriction with respect to sandalwood. See, for example, if you grow sandalwood in your own backyard, you cannot cut it and sell it in the open market. You can't do that. Is that okay? There is a law under the Forest Act or the tree rules. We'll see that later. So the rules prohibit anybody from selling it in the open market. Is that okay? So government will cut it, government will keep it in the depot, government will sell it and the money will be given to you right now. All right. So this policy wants to deregulate it, make it much more easier for cultivators of sandalwood to sell it. So all existing restrictions will be removed and allowing people to grow sandalwood in private land and sell it in the open market, the policy. So policy envisages to make changes, necessary changes with the regulatory thing. Okay, so remember this, sandalwood policy 2022. Next, Krishi Aranya Protsahana Yojana started 11-12. This, I think, in the budget also it was mentioned. We have talked about this in the budget. Budget also, there was a mention of this scheme and funds were allocated for this scheme. So what does this scheme, talk about? Giving money to whom? Giving seedlings to the farmers. The farmers will grow them, all right, and for growing them and maintaining them, they will be given incentive. 15 rupees, 35 rupees, 40 rupees and 50 rupees for surviving seedlings, first, second and third year. Is that okay? Yes, so for surviving the season. And also has indirect benefit, meaning if you are growing fruit tree, it is going to provide you benefits. Okay, fodder, wood, all of that is the indirect benefit of this particular scheme. So if you read the schemes, no, it has like 5-6 sentences, not talking anything. Basically telling it's good for the environment, it's good for the farmers to generate revenue. But the numbers is 35, 40, 50, first, second and third year. For that, fund has been allocated in the budget is what we had read. Done? Okay, next. Hasiru Karnataka or Green Karnataka, 2018-19. So basically, it's a social forestry program, meaning to promote or to grow trees on barren lands, government lands, etc. So who all will be involved? School children as well as NGOs, voluntary organization, community groups, self-help groups, college students, school students, etc. They all will be involved in social forestry. And what kind of saplings will be selected? Those which are indigenous to that particular land. So it should have dual benefit also. Other than environment, it should also provide kind of fruits and other things also for the local community. Okay, on government lands. Hasiru Karnataka, don't get confused with the previous one. Right? If you don't revise enough number of time, the options will confuse you. Yes, so they all tend to get confused. Right? So one standalone, when we do it, it is easy. So when we'll get clarity by revising. Okay, we'll move on. Yes, next. Sasya Shamala scheme. So this is by Education Department, because we are talking about forest department plus Education Department. So here what is the aim? Aim is to provide 50 lakh saplings will be given to government schools. Along with that, there shall be various programs that will be there to promote awareness about environment to the people, to the children. All right, so all class student between 1 to 12 will be involved over here. So basically 50 saplings will be given to each government schools. Okay, in 17 districts which has sparse green cover, 100 saplings shall be given. And not just with that, children also will be assigned to make sure that they maintain it. Okay, take care of these saplings for a period of 2 years. Watering or whatever has to be done will be done by them. Okay, so this creates a kind of an awareness and accountability, stakeholder mentality, so which will promote greenery. And after 5 years, geotagging and auditing of this will also be done. So that's the initiative. So all of that is important, the facts. One, two, three, four. This one. 50, 100. Okay. Maybe moderate level. So 50 saplings is given to each school. Fine. Repeat it. That's all for 2 months and then forget it. That's all. Okay. Next, tree park scheme. I think it's very easy. Okay. Set up tree parks in every district, taluk headquarters and community land. Smruti Vana Nirmana. Okay, so set up tree parks. Setting up tree parks. Okay. Next. Devarakadu, there's a scheme with respect to that. No specific name as such. Devarakadu, okay. Basically sacred groves. In your environment chapter, you would have environment GS. Sacred groves. Okay. Daivi Vana. Okay. Daivi Vana. So there are schemes in order to protect this sacred groves, right? Now, sacred groves, maximum number of them is in Karnataka. In Karnataka, Kodagu district has the highest number. So basically, these are community land or forest that is believed by the community that their deity lives in that forest. Okay, so there is a temple around which the forest that is preserved as Devarakadu or sacred tree. So belief is there. It is unique because of its ecological, role that it plays, plus culture also. So both are important over here. So there is a scheme that has been launched. So there's a lot of issues with respect to Devarakadu. One is that there is no proper recognition of these land. Is it community land? Is it deemed forest? Remember, right? Because most of these Devarakadu is under revenue department. There's no provision for them to protect it like the way other forests are protected. Many times what happens is through various schemes, etc., government land is given as grants, and the government gives revenue lands, and sometimes they end up giving Devarakadu to grants, etc. Encroachment is there happening, plus it's cultural. So people are now becoming less spiritual, and therefore there is that cultural preservation that was there for so many years. Because of modernization, that has now eroded. So therefore there is a threat. So these are all threats, etc., that they are facing. So under this scheme, 91 Devarakadus have been identified for development. Now this number is not important because it varies. I mean, I have not seen it commonly referred to by any government source. So 91, some say it is just mentioned as a number. So you don't have to actually remember, it's not a very specific number that is there. So somewhere else fund has been allocated for 91 Devarakadus, 40 has been restored, 30 is undergoing, all that kind of data is there. So therefore it need not be this one. Launched in 11-12. Okay, so here there is also creation of these, Rashivana, Nakshatra Vana, Navagraha Vana, okay, Panchayat Vana, etc. Now again, if a question something with this is asked, you should remember this is to do with Devarakadu. That's all. Familiarity. Don't by heart. Familiarity. All right. And also, this scheme involves creation of civic amenities like walking path, okay, pergolas, and things like that. So when deities come to visit these temples, they will also visit this Devarakadu, take shelter, and other facilities, dustbins and other things are being provided under this particular scheme. Okay, Daivivana or Devarakadu. Is that okay? Some facts, information, etc. Familiarity, nothing very factual is there. Is that okay? We'll move on. Next. Okay, Chinnara Vana Darshana. Okay, it makes sense. Children. Okay, and awareness program for school students, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th. Numbers again may be important because initially it was only for 9th standard, and I think last year's budget or the year before that they introduced the other 3 also. Done? Okay. Next. Talukigondu Hasiru Grama Yojane. Name itself makes sense, right? For every taluk, one village will be developed as model green village. In every taluk, one village will be developed as model green village. Okay, next. So this is what I was talking about. There's a scheme to protect medicinal plants. So maintenance of medicinal plant conservation area, it's also the scheme also can be development, plant development. Okay, maintenance of medicinal plant conservation area scheme, MPCA. Again, there is no much factual information that is here, but forest department there is a foundation of revitalization of local health tradition. In collaboration with them, this scheme is being implemented. So establishment of the 17 medicinal plant conservation area in your mains, it's useful. This data or the name is important, but in prelims it is obvious. Yes, this you have to remember. There's a foundation, an NGO which is working towards preservation of medicinal plants. So medicinal plant, 17 such medicinal plant conservation areas will be set up. This is very obvious. Maintain, protect, local community will be involved. Okay, so under this, remember I told you that time, right? So under this scheme, preservation of or protection of degraded and endangered Myristica swamp. Myristica swamps. So take any sector, some important data in that sector, important schemes relating to that sector, issues, problems will be useful from mains point of view. So when we do mains, over there we will focus on that. What are the challenges? What are the initiatives needed? What are the recommendations needed? Prelims it's not useful. Even there it is all very obvious. Why is it important? You can talk from the environmental point of view. You can talk from the cultural point of view. It's very important culturally also, these medicinal plants, right? So it has economic benefit also, because these medicinal plants now can be used for pharmaceutical purpose, and we can use it for the environmental preservation, for the community. These are all useful from the mains point of view. Is that okay? Prelims may, I mean, it's there. If you read your economic survey, it is quite content is there. Not useful. Just these words are important. So Myristica. So I have, explained it to you. Yes. Now answer this question then. Yes. Consider the following statement. Simple question. Both 1 and 2. If it is mentioned in your economic survey, priority increases. Alva. So it is a high priority. If it is not asked, don't blame me, but it has a high priority is what I am trying to stress on, right? If you need some information, you can add. So it looks like this. It's a picture of it, okay, of Myristica swamp, wetland ecosystem, Western Ghats, Karnataka and Kerala. See, the whole idea is to make the class a little bit interesting also. Otherwise, very factual, very difficult to keep all of you pay attention to these. Uttar Kannada, right, in case of Karnataka and Kerala. As I told you recently, it was in news that even in Maharashtra they have found this. So just in case, keep that also in mind as an option. Okay, if they ask. Evergreen, then permanently or seasonally waterlogged. That's why it's wetland. Is that okay? This we have already written it. All right. Then these numbers, I don't know, it was it's a difficult one or not so important one, but you can keep in mind that government also has, under the forest department website, you'll find that they have also they have these this one, what for those who have got affected by animal attacks, wild animal, man animal conflict, just for death of the person 15 lakh ex gratia, this one, disabled 10 lakh, partial disability 5 lakh, monthly pension of 4,000 is given for period of 5 years for the dependents of the dead or those who have been disabled. They will be given 4,000 rupees monthly pension for a period of 5 years. For loss of domesticated animals because of animal attack, up to 30,000 shall be given. Just be aware of it. I don't think it's that important data. All right, we'll move on. Then, environmental programs are also being funded through the special component plan and tribal subplan. Are you aware of this? So I just put this up. There was no much information on that which was worth for your prelims. Like fund was given for water supply, for housing and other things. Those are not important, but I hope you are aware of this special component plan and tribal subplan. What is this? Yes? No. What does this tribal subplan or the special component plan, what is it? Basic. principle behind it? Yes? Anybody? So basically, for 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 SC and ST community for their development. So they are the one of the most marginalized sections in our society. So in order to ensure that the funds reach this community, so we have something called as special component plan and tribal sub plan. So basically within the ambit of the whole plan, you have the special component plan and sub plan. That means in addition to the money that is received through the general scheme, additional fund is allocated to them, okay, through a special budget called as the tribal sub plan, for example. Okay, the amount of money is in proportion to their population. Okay, in proportion to their population. So in Karnataka, we have around 6.95% of population who belong to scheduled tribes. So now let's say, if government allots 100 crore, okay, for 100 crore for education, in addition to 100 crore, another budget has to be also be created for education, especially of scheduled tribe community. So that means 6.9 crore in addition to this 100 crore. Okay, so the total budget now will be 106.9 crore, but the 6.9 will be only for the scheduled tribe community. Same thing, special component for scheduled caste. So under this, every department has to now allocate fund to SC and ST community in proportion to their population. So forest department, it was mentioned that they fund so much fund, etc. But I thought you will be able to appreciate this idea over here. So that's why it's called as sub plan, special component plan. So within the ambit of the general scheme, you have specific scheme and separate fund that is allocated for. So if you see every department, every ministry, right, when you see their annual report, you will find general budget, and another head you will find these component, special component and tribal subplan in proportion to them. So that should be meant only for the welfare of this community. Is that okay, guys? Fine. Now, if you want some data with respect to the tribes, I didn't know where else we would be using it, maybe in demography, etc. But otherwise, you can just write down this data with respect to the tribal population of Karnataka. Okay, so how much percentage of population in Karnataka are tribes? They are 6.95%. So in terms of number, in terms of percentage, which are the districts which has the highest tribal population? So Ballari, okay, 10.6%. Sorry, in terms of number, largest is in Bellary. 10% of the state's population of scheduled tribe, they live in Bellary. In terms of proportion, in terms of percentage in that particular district, Raichur has the highest. So 20% of the population in Raichur belong to ST community. And majority of them live in rural, obviously around 80%. Okay. Right. One more data with respect to the tribes of Karnataka. There is a category of tribes called as PVTG. Okay, particularly vulnerable tribal group. So they are the most vulnerable of the among the scheduled tribes. The most vulnerable groups are categorized as PVTGs. Okay, so can anybody define PVTG? What are the characteristics? In GS also you will be studying. Yes? Low literacy rate, pre-agrarian technology, primitive technology, then declining population. Geographical isolation is not the criteria. Okay, what else? Economic backwardness. Is that okay? So these are the 4 criteria to designate it as PVTG. Pre-agrarian technology. Second, economic backwardness. Then stagnant population. Population is either stagnant or reducing. Yeah, and literacy, low literacy. Okay, low literacy. So these are the 4 criteria. So there are these communities who are categorized as PVTG who live in Karnataka. Please, Chenchus, Hakki Pakkis, Jenu Kurubas, Koragas, Korvas, and Sholigas. No, language is not. So language is not very specific to the tribes alone. So minority linguistics, so that classification comes separately. Language minorities. So they minorities, either religious minorities or linguistic minorities. So that way they will be protected there. Okay, shall we move on? Okay, so the reason why I mentioned this was special component plan. Under that you'll find a lot of information, nothing very specific. So that means there is no one specific scheme. It's all from bottoms up approach, grassroots level involvement, what that particular community needs. Let's say you say a tribal community, and then through various institutions. So we have what is called as your tribal, integrated tribal development agencies, ITDA. Integrated tribal development agencies. So tomorrow you become KS officers, AC, ADC cadre. One of the postings can be in that. IAS officers, etc. will be there. So this agency will be for a particular tribe or a particular region where you have tribes living, and they will plan, okay, according to the needs. It's not top down, it is bottoms up approach. What they need, they will be planning. The fund will come from where? Budget, under this head. It can be used for anything: drinking water, education, cycles, health needs, anything as such. So there's no one specific thing that is. So who is that targeting? Scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Is that okay? Right. So with respect to the forest, right, central schemes that are being implemented by the state government, centrally sponsored schemes. So you have National Bamboo Mission. This mentioned in our survey, so somewhat trying to organize it. So if you talk about the national level schemes for environment, will be different way in which you can think about. So the National Bamboo Mission, which is a centrally sponsored scheme. So you need to remember here, it is by the Agriculture Department at the center level, 100% centrally sponsored scheme. Okay, through forest development agencies, joint forest management committees. Do you know about this? Joint forest management committees. Under the Forest Policy 1988, you have these provision for establishing joint forest management committees. So here basically it is joint management. So J, joint forest management committee. So joint management between whom? Forest department and local communities. So you have village forest committees. Where is it formed? It is formed in the panchayats, at the village panchayats, education, village education committees, village forest committees, village sanitation committees. So these are all committees that will be set up at the panchayat levels. involving the local people, the electors. So there will be one committee for forest development, that is village forest committees in the panchayats. So they along with forest department will be managing the forest properties, forest lands. So forest development agencies, joint forest management committees, bamboo development agencies will be implementing this. So this will be in the non-forest areas and hence Department of Agriculture. Done? Next, Green India Mission. So as we discussed, 33% of the, the objective is to increase the forest cover to 33%. Now it's around 20%. So they want to increase it to 33%. So increase the forest cover to about 10 million hectares, increase the forest-based livelihood by about 3 million households. So it's been implemented in, this is there in the forest department, this one, Kalburgi, Hasan and Sirsi Forest Division. It's again a difficult and not so important topic, right? So Kalburgi, Hasan and Sirsi. It's not as such in news from the survey. Objective is to increase green cover. So again, through various programs, afforestation programs, providing seedlings, etc. All right, move on. So Green India Mission. Next, Nagaravana scheme. So for towns and cities. For towns and cities. Previous one, quickly. So Kalburgi, Hasan and Sirsi Forest Division is implementing the Green India Mission. Okay, next, Nagaravana scheme for towns and cities. 5 years, okay, from 2020 to 2025. So where all it is being implemented, Kalburgi Division, Vijaypura, Shimoga and Vijayanagara Division of Forest. Again, difficult to remember all of this, but make a note of it. Okay, done. Right. Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, under that, one of the component is agroforestry. Okay, Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, read it in national schemes, obviously you would be knowing, okay, to promote agriculture. So basically here, it incentivizes the, what is under this, Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana? Yes, centrally sponsored scheme. What are centrally sponsored schemes? They are sponsored by the central government. Okay. Central sector schemes? They implemented by the center itself. So centrally sponsored scheme. So here, what do they sponsor? So under Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, what do they sponsor? Agriculture. Okay. So other than that, so basically it incentivizes the states to invest in agriculture. So if they increase their investment compared to the previous expenditure, that incentive will be given by the center. Is that clear? Yes or no? If Karnataka government increases the expenditure on agriculture, whatever is the gap will be incentivized by the center. And who plans for all the expenditure? State only. It's left to the state to decide what are they going to spend it on. But that compensation little bit will be given by, so it motivates the states to invest more in agriculture, increase more in agriculture. Anyway, so one of the component under that is agroforestry to promote plantation in agricultural, and so it has a dual purpose. One is environmental as well as providing economic benefit for the farmers. So centrally sponsored scheme, 60-40 ratio. These also have been asked in the exam. From 2015-16, it has become so much. Earlier, it was a different ratio. That's what it is. So this plan is being implemented since 2007. Since 2015-16, 60-40 ratio. In other states, like in northeastern states and Himalayan, it is around 90-10%. Then what else? Scheme for Agriculture Department implemented by Forest Department from 23-24. All right. So this is something, these also have been asked. It's by Department of Agriculture, but being implemented by the Forest Department. Okay, then National Afforestation Program. National Afforestation Program. So the objective is to increase the forest cover. The objective is to increase the forest cover. So here you have National Afforestation and Eco Development Board. It's a centrally sponsored scheme, 60:40 ratio. Again here, joint forest management committees and the village forest committees will be implementing the scheme. In Karnataka since 2002-03. So what are the objectives of this particular scheme? To increase the forest cover basically, right? Sustainable development and management of forest resource, increase and improve forest and tree cover, rehabilitation of degraded forest and other forest areas. Very generic, you know, you don't even have to write, it's understood, right? Sustainable development, rehabilitation. These three words you should be able to appreciate. The numbers which may be important is this. Again, it is medium to difficult level and medium to difficult, I mean, less important. Unless it is in our budget, in our current affairs, its priority will be less. Is that okay? National Afforestation Program. Move on. Objective, forest improvement plus rehabilitation degraded land. All right. So next, coming to the institution. So these are some important schemes relating to environment, relating to the forest department or somebody who is, so one scheme there we read about education, one with respect to agriculture. The rest is by forest department, if I recollect. Okay. Then there was a mention of a biodiversity board also, right? So this is established under the National Biodiversity Act, Biological Diversity Act 2002. So this Karnataka's Biodiversity Board was set up in the year 2003. In your national environment, you will be reading about the law, yes, Biological Diversity Act. So we have enacted this law to preserve our biodiversity, equitable sharing of the resources, right, conservation and promotion and things like that. So it has a provision for establishing of a National Biodiversity Board, a State Biodiversity Board. In Karnataka, it was set up in 2003. The main objective is, now if you want to utilize any biological resource, you have to take permission. Correct? No, an Indian also, if it has to use the biological resources for the benefit, economic benefit, has to take permission from the Biodiversity Board. You would have read in your environment, right, Shankar or somebody, some other textbook, what you would have read. Allah, if he is a foreign national, then has to take it from the National Biodiversity Board, all that you would have read. Now, objective is what? Meaning, right, objectives are conservation, protection, giving, it is first past the post. You don't have to get majority here. Why do you have to get majority? BJP forming the government twice. What was their vote share? 30 to 35%. That means if you complete 35% of the syllabus, you will also win the election. You got it. Same thing is with respect to prelims also. You don't have to complete the syllabus. Know what you should be able to clear. Connect, huh? All right. Okay, online students. So I think there was a connection issue. So what we discussed was this Karnataka Biodiversity Board, right? Please write down this. After that, Biodiversity Heritage Site established under the Biodiversity Act, Section 37 of the Act. So areas of biodiversity importance, state and state government in coordination with the local body will set up. So there are 7 biodiversity heritage sites. Please make note of that and remember it. Okay. So online students, you can pause it. Okay. So after that, you can move on. Next, Karnataka State Coastal Zone Management Authority, another institution mentioned in the economic survey, is this Karnataka State Coastal Zone Management Authority. It was set up in 26th November 1988. So it is the authority that manages or implements the CRZ notification 2011. So even though there is 2018 notification in your national current affairs, you would have read. In Karnataka, it is still 2011 notification that is being implemented. The agency that is implementing is the Coastal Zone Management Authority. So what is the jurisdiction of this authority? 12 nautical miles in the sea up to 500 meters from the upper tidal line, high tide line. Is that okay? There's a picture over here. So 12 nautical miles in the sea and up to your the high tide line. This is the high tide line. 500 meters of the high tide line. So that is, numbers are important. Is that okay? So the jurisdiction of this is up to 500 meters from the high tide lines towards the landward side from 12 nautical miles. So it is under Ministry of Forest and they are regulating the coastal area under the Environmental Protection Act 1986. Okay, so 12 nautical miles to high tide, from there 500 meters. So let's say this is the high tide line, 12 nautical miles up to 500. In GS, you would have been studying all these things. So the details of all that CRZ notification 11, 18, all that probably you can go through it. Okay. Next. So there they are further divided into CRZ 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, I'm just overlapping, encroaching into the GS areas, but I'm sure you will be all knowing these things. CRZ 1, ecologically sensitive areas where constructions are prohibited. CRZ 2, developed up to the or close to shoreline, specific activities are regulated. CRZ is developed rural and urban areas. CRZ 4 is islands. Okay, inhabited islands. So these are CRZs. So you can refer your, same thing is mentioned. You can refer your GS for these things. All right. So there is a scheme, okay, sponsored by World Bank, which is mentioned. You can just remember this is also asked in the exam. Karnataka Strengthening Coastal Resilience and Economy Project. Okay, these are financed. This is financed under the by the World Bank. So they can ask with respect to Karnataka, this is being sponsored by which of the external agencies, World Bank, that, this, etc. So this name, please write down this. Karnataka Strengthening Coastal Resilience program or project sponsored by World Bank. Okay, move on. Then there are these acts um, which you might be aware of. Some of them with respect to Karnataka. Karnataka Forest Act 1963, Wildlife Protection Act, Karnataka Preserve. So all your wildlife sanctuary national parks are under that. Karnataka Preservation of Trees Act. This is what I told you. So if you want to cut down trees or sell it, etc. So there are some which are deregulated trees. Okay, so where you don't need permission from the government to cut it and sell it. Okay, like recently, if I recollect in current affairs, I think few years back when I was studying, like mango tree was deregulated. That means anybody can cut the mango tree and sell it. Sandalwood is regulated. That means you cannot cut it and sell it. Okay, then Forest Conservation Act, Environmental Protection Act, all your pollution related, etc. Okay, then National Forest Policy is there, 1988. This is what I told you, Joint Forest Management Committees, JFMs. So they come under the National Forest Policy, 1988. Biodiversity Act. Okay, Forest Rights Act. So this is basically a law to empower the traditional forest dwellers by giving them title rights, habitation rights, exploitation right, matlab minor forest produce, cultivation rights, and rights for rehabilitation. Okay, it's a very important law from general studies point of view. These are laws which empower the traditional forest dwellers, not just scheduled tribes, but also other forest dwellers. For scheduled tribes, it is much more relaxed. For non-scheduled tribes, forest dwellers, they have to show 75 years of proof that they have lived in that forest and all of that. Is that okay? So these are some of the important laws relating to forest. Be aware of it. Don't have to go into the details and study individual things, but at least be aware that these laws are the ones which whatever we have discussed today deals with them, whether it is classification of forests, protections of our forest. Yes, all of that has been done. So the classification of forests into different types under Forest Act, the classification of protected area network, that is wildlife and all of that, under the Wildlife Protection Act, tree harvesting, etc., agroforestry comes under the Forest Preservation Act, Forest Conservation Act, Environmental Protection Act, etc. Yes, so what's the answer for this? B. Yes, simple. So the answer for this, what we just discussed, is B, to promote environmental awareness. A little bit about wildlife, okay, of Karnataka. I am sure most of you would be aware if you have studied Karnataka geography. So Karnataka has 5 national parks, 36 sanctuaries, 5 tiger reserves, 17 conservation reserves, 1 community reserves. Obviously, at least the 5 national parks, 5 tiger reserves, maybe 1 community reserve, anything else in news, any other national parks, etc. Sanctuaries on news becomes priority. But studying all the 36 wildlife sanctuary would be your second priority. All right, many students will ask me, where is the list of all the endemic species and all of that in Karnataka? All right, that is very difficult to remember. Keep it towards the end. Maybe a question might become, but those questions will mostly related to current affairs. So if an endemic species or if an endangered species or something is mentioned in your news, there's a higher chance that they will be asked. So that way also you will be covering. But if you sit and study all the list of flora, you go to the Karnataka government's website, you will find the endangered species list there. So that you can do, but you get the picture. It's of not so important. So now these 5 national parks, right? So Bandipur, Bannerghatta, Nagarhole, Anshi and Kudremukh. So probably, this is very commonly asked question. Is that okay? So you can expect basic thing, must know. If you don't answer this, then it's, very unlikely you will be clearing the prelims. So Bandipur, in terms of, when it was established, okay. So Bandipur National Park, 1974 and so on. So Wildlife Protection Act, under that, network of protected areas are established. Is this okay? Right? So some of the factual information also becomes important. Where is Bandipur located? Which river flows through it? Then what are the borders relating to it? All that can be asked. Is that okay? So in your geography textbook, it is there. So let me just put, because it's just 5 of them, we can cover it. See, Bandipur National Park is the largest national park in Karnataka. Okay, it is in Chamarajanagar district. It was renamed, okay, initially it was set up as a wildlife park in 1931. Okay, Venugopala Wildlife Park, there's a temple, so based on that it was named. It became a tiger reserve also in 1973. It's part of the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, which includes Bandipur, Nagarhole, Madumalai National Park of Tamil Nadu, and Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary of Kerala. See, all these you might be knowing, need to have familiarity with this. Okay, couple of times you read, you will have familiarity. You don't have to by heart. Kabini River in the north, Moyar River in the south, Nuggu River passes through it. Kabini River is the one which separates Bandipur with Nagarhole. Okay, all these information facts, because KPSC is hungry for facts, right? So you need to know these things. Arranging them geographically also, if they want to, they can ask from north to south and things like that. Right. Then Bannerghatta National Park. Okay. So the river or stream, Suvarnamukhi River, important. It's an important wildlife passage between BR Hills and Satyamangala Forest. Okay. Tali Reserve Forest is in the southeast. Bilikal Forest is in the south border of this area. Okay. Write down Bannerghatta National Park. Adjoining to it, you have Bannerghatta Zoological Park also. Write on, don't give up. Okay, next. Nagarhole National Park. So it was initially set up as wildlife sanctuary, then it was upgraded to national park. It's also a tiger reserve. Okay, declared in 1999. This is fine. Then Anshi National Park. Dates are not that important, at least you should be knowing which came first, which came last. So Tiger Reserve was declared, yeah, 1955, Wildlife Sanctuary, upgraded to National Park, 1988, Tiger Reserve declared in 1999. Okay, right. Anshi National Park. Okay, so now it's renamed as, or the Tiger Reserve is renamed as Kali Tiger Reserve. So Anshi Dandeli Tiger Reserve was renamed as your Kali Tiger Reserve. Uttar Kannada district, Kali River flows through it. So Anshi Dandeli Tiger Reserve, 2007. In 2015, it was renamed to Kali Tiger Reserve. Okay, Kudremukh National Park, Chikmagaluru district. Tunga, Bhadra, Netravati rivers. Okay, the second highest peak. Okay, Kudremukh after Mullayanagiri is located here. It is known for a large population in India of lion-tailed macaque, which is endemic to India, yeah, Western Ghats, endemic to Western Ghats. A lot of facts even I might have missed. So in case from your general studies, etc., if it is there, you write it. But at least the framework you are getting it. Okay, even if you don't have any information other than this, this is more than enough. At least this basic will help you to eliminate lot of options. Even if you don't get the right answer, you will be able to know the wrong options and eliminate and then end up getting the right answer. All right, tiger reserves, write down. Bandipur, Nagarhole, Biligiri, Ranga Swami Temple, VR Hills, okay, Dandeli, Anchi, and Bhadra. Okay, in terms of its establishment, with the years of its establishment. Again, this is under the Wildlife Protection Act, one of the categories of protected areas. Okay, right. Next, community reserve, Kokkarabelluru Community Reserve. Some reason it was in news. Madur Taluk. Okay. Leave this. Okay. This Rangantittu Bird Sanctuary was in news. Recently, it was declared in 2022 as a Ramsar site. So please write down this Rangantittu Bird Sanctuary on 15 February 2022. It's the largest bird sanctuary in Karnataka, and it is known as Pakshi Kashi of Karnataka in Mandya district, made up of 6 islands in Kaveri River. And 2022 it was declared as a Ramsar site. I hope you know Ramsar site, right? Wetlands of international importance. The only Ramsar site in Karnataka. Hmm? One more is there? Okay, let me check then. Maybe in the next class I will just correct that. Okay, then Zoo Authority of Karnataka, another institution. So there are 9 zoos under its jurisdiction, 9 zoos in Karnataka. Okay, so it is located in the Chamarajendra Zoological Garden in Mysore. So that's the location. It's located in Mysore. 9 zoos in Karnataka. Okay, so February 1st it was declared, right? 3 wetlands were declared as Ramsar site. Okay. So good, you read the February magazine or something. All right. So Zoo Authority, and then other information with respect to the tiger population and elephant. So tiger, Karnataka is having the second. First one is Madhya Pradesh. Okay, second, in the previous census, Karnataka has a tiger population of 435. No, no, I think this is the current. So earlier it was more, and now then, yeah. So then they again did. Okay, but yeah, then this is what was there in the document. Okay, but it is second largest population. Okay, let me just verify that number. All right, so elephant population. So you'll have to remember even the Project Tiger and Project Elephant being implemented. So elephant, again, Karnataka is number one, first. Okay, Karnataka is number one. All right. Next one is the, finished with that. No? Okay. Right. The last one for today is biodiversity heritage site. Okay. So these are unique, ecologically fragile ecosystem, terrestrial, coastal, inland water, and marine with rich biodiversity. Okay. So there are 4 such biodiversity heritage sites declared. Nallur Tamarind Grove, Devanalli, Hogrekan in Chikmagalur, University of Agriculture Science, GKVK campus, Bangalore. Okay, Ambaragudda in Shimoga. Yes, please. Yeah. So there's a difference. Let me just check. This is by okay. We can cross check this again. Okay, this is 563, right? So I just checked. Please make a note of it. 563. All right, so this we'll just check it. So this is 563. So here 3 more has been added in the February current affairs. We'll just discuss those things. I think rest of the information seems to be all right. Okay. So I'll end the class with that for now. So this is all the information with respect to environment and ecology that you need to know from Karnataka. All right. The schemes, programs, the laws, unless it is in news, you don't have to worry. The policies also, make a note of it, be aware of it. As such, if we do it, like from the mains point of view, you might have to know its objectives and what are the various initiatives, etc. But from prelims point of view, awareness and some basic facts are more than enough. Is that okay? So the heritage site, next week when we discuss in our class, we will do that. So once we finish these things, we'll start with the current affairs. As I told you, 2023 current affairs as a compilation, we'll try and make it available. Okay, but we'll start with February, current affairs, Karnataka issues, and then January, and then we'll go on back in time. Okay. So in the next class, that is in the afternoon session, we will be doing rural development. Okay. So from economic survey, rural development, some important facts, then schemes and programs relating to rural development, all of that will be covered. Is that okay? I hope it was useful. All right. Now from environment ecology, just keep revising these things for Karnataka issues. All right. So I'll see you guys in the afternoon. Later next Sunday, we will continue with this topic, resource management, and then start with some other topic. All right. I hope it was useful. Right. Thank you guys. See you.